Hey. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of my comedy hour, to Napoli Comedy Hour. Today we have a fantastic comedian. Uh, I was blessed to have worked with him quite often in the last few years. He actually disappeared out of my screen right now. Hopefully, he gets back in. Uh, he's actually been touring the country in many important comedy clubs all over the place. And let's bring him on. We have today Mr. Tom Daddario. Hey,
Hello.
Tommy.
What's going on,
How
Tony?
good? What's going on, my friend? How have you been?
No, I'm in a pandemic, so I got a cat behind me. I got a cat, which is about the only pussy I'm seeing these days. And I got the guns out. I'm sorry, bro. What am I gonna do,
Yeah,
right?
actually, I know about that cat. He's 18 years old, correct?
This is an old cat. Yeah, 18. She's old, but she's
See?
tiny.
I
But you know
even know.
what? I would never dress like this for your shows. You know that, right?
Oh, I thought you were overdressed, if you ask me.
I don't know. I didn't know it was that kind of show. I would have took my shirt off.
So, so how have you been? How's everything going?
I've been good, man. I mean, it's look, we have a lot of a lot of tragedy in the country from all this, but I've been working hard on doing writing and doing a lot of shows like yours, which are great, which is great because it gets people to see what we have going on for us and see that we're still out there, kind of having fun, making people laugh, and it's needed. As crazy as it sounds, what
Yeah.
you're doing there is needed, and the laughter is needed. We have troubles, but
Yeah.
with those troubles, we still need entertainment.
Have you
And
been pretty confined to your quarters?
I was here for a long time. I was confined here to my apartment for a while. I actually tested positive. I got
Oh,
a
you
positive.
did?
Yeah.
I did not know that. How did you deal with that?
Well, it was scary, man, because although, I'm a little bit of a hypochondriac anyway. So like my problem, if I have a headache, it's probably a brain tumor first before it's just a headache. Like I'm
Yeah.
weird, like I'm crazy. So what happened was I got a new girlfriend that I'm with on Long Island. She lives on Long Island with her two kids. So I didn't want to
Okay.
go out there with her unless I
Right.
tested positive, you know? So, and then also what's language like on this? Can you say whatever you want?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, I thought so. So what I did was I'm a fucking idiot. So the first
Oh, for
day,
sure. For sure.
the first day, the first day, that's the first thing you agree that I'm a fucking idiot. The first day that I'm locked down in my apartment and I can't leave, I'm here with the girl that I kind of used to date, and we had been together years ago, but we're not in a relationship now. But she lived here, so that's when I decided to tell her that I had a new girlfriend.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, fucking stupid. So she freaked out, and that was the beginning of my lockdown, which fucking sucked.
Yeah.
So being scared that she was going to murder me in my sleep was weird. But then I called a place that was local and said, when do you think you might start having tests? I want to know if I might be able to get tested. And they said, well, we have tests right now. If you want to come in and get tested,
Yeah.
you can get tested now. When we run out, we run out. So I went in, I got tested, I wore a mask. There was only
Yeah. It's scary. It's scary. I mean, you're in the middle of the epicenter.
it's fucking crazy. Queens, there's
You
people,
know, you still live in Astoria, correct?
Victoria. Yeah, I mean, there's groups of people freaking making out with each other, man. Nobody gives a shit. It's
Yeah.
crazy. So
I just want to say hello to a lot of our followers. So there's messages already for you.
oh, good.
Tom from Yolanda, which she has a 22 and a half year old cat as well.
Oh, wow.
Comedian Joe Bruno, where they worked with us in Buffalo, says
Oh,
hi.
yeah, cool.
Yeah, Anne Marie Padellaro, Anna Franzolino Warner is on. I love Anna. She's from Ohio and is
Nice.
following us.
Good.
So let's get going. I want to know who is Tom Daddario? What's your background? How did you end up becoming a comedian?
I was in acting for many years, and I got divorced when I was 37 years old and decided to start stand-up comedy at 37.
Wow.
And it anything you want, you can get in life. You just have to be willing to bust your fucking ass if that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I was working at 37 years old. I was working a full-time job 5 days a week. And I was out in the street in New York City handing out flyers 4 or 5 nights a week. I was doing anywhere between 10 and 20 shows a week, working
Wow.
full time and being out until 3 in the morning and coming home, sleeping 4 hours, going to work, napping, going back out, doing 4 more shows, everything for free because you just have to get good at what you do. And I went through that for probably 6 years before I started, finally getting paid, and it started to pay off.
I mean, I think a lot of people don't know, what it takes to become somebody like an actor, a comedian. There's so many sacrifices that go into, you know what I mean? And
I don't.
and I gotta tell you, I always enjoyed working with you. I think you're a fantastic comedian, and you got 2, 3 bits that always get me.
Oh,
I definitely joined the Corinthian.
Right, the Corinthians. Yeah, my doctor came to see me once, and he loved that bit. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, the other one with your bipolar girlfriend, and also the cell phone one. I think it's hilarious.
Oh, right, fighting in text, which
Yeah,
it's that bit is interesting because when I'd been doing it a long time, and when I did it like 10 or 12 years ago, and I talked about how after you fight with your girlfriend or your wife, you run out of the house and then you start going fuck you and you're cursing and texting. A lot of older people, they didn't get it because 10, 12 years ago, there wasn't as many older people texting. You know what I'm
right.
saying? And then now when I do that bit, there are grandmothers that understand it because everybody's texting now. Everybody kind of gets it,
Right.
And the Paul and the Corinthian thing, I was in church one day, and then I heard the priest went up and said, we have a letter from Paul to the Corinthians, and I was sitting there and I thought, like didn't this fucking guy have anything better to do? Like all he did was write letters to the Corinthians, And
Yeah.
and then it occurred to me that that was funny, so I started talking about it in my act, like.
No, fantastic. I still listen to it. Look what I got here. Oh, let me see.
Oh shit, it's broken now. I got to send you another one.
That's an albatross.
Yeah, that's the albatross one, right? That's the crazy girl I went out with.
No, actually, let's tell people, if people want to follow you on social media, where should they go?
Well, my Facebook is Tommy Comic. It's a facebook.com/Tommy Comic. And then everything else is also my last name. Like if you did Tom Daddario, which is, Daddaio, all my Twitter comes up, my Instagram comes up, my website, everything comes up that way. And if somebody friends me on Facebook, I'll send them a link to my fan page. And I post videos all the time. Vic and I work together.
Yeah.
A lot, when
and we'll talk about that soon.
No problem. Not trying to push.
So you actually have traveled, you have performed in so many fantastic nightclubs and theaters across the country.
Yeah, man.
From Dangerfields to the Borgata.
Yes.
And have you found, at least for yourself, what do you prefer? Do you prefer working? I know it's a different vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Have you prefer to perform in theaters or clubs, if you had to choose between one of them?
If I had to choose between one or the other, and I think I'm going to venture to say that most comics feel this way, I prefer a club. Remember that really great room that we did? What was that room that we did where the kid did some magic before when we went with Frank Santa?
At a club, or are you talking about?
Well,
you're talking about Anthony Prosciutti.
It was like a theater, but it was more intimate. So it was a lot of tables right up front. We had a front row.
Oh, was that in Rochester?
I believe.
Yes, I believe it was at the downtown cabaret.
Exactly. Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And something like that if you're starting to go from a club to a theater atmosphere, that's nice because it's nice to have that intimacy where you're a few
Yeah.
feet away from someone. Sometimes I get in these theaters and look, I'm blessed to do rooms like this, but when you have 2,000, 3,000 people, it tends to become so large and so much larger than life, Like as a producer, you love it because you're making, you're making more. But it's so vast and so big that you don't have this personal relationship with someone like at a table 3 feet away from you. So there's something about a club that always has a nicer feel to me as a comedian.
Oh, I want to say hello, while I'm at it, hello to Kathy Carbonaro.
Okay.
I think she says wig, Tom. I think they want a wig on you. Liberty Smith, Lucia is on. Elizabeth. She says, Battipede goes, yeah, the club is much better. And Yolanda and Anne-Marie Padellaro. So we have a lot of people following us, coming, saying hello.
Somebody said like they should wear a hairpiece or
maybe. Now, you've been pretty active in social media the last couple of years, coming up with some characters. One of my favorites is Ant Influenza.
Oh man, I love doing that. Yeah.
Although nowadays, if you do Ant Influenza with a mask, you look like a Middle Eastern woman.
That's true. That's true. It could take another.
and the little Tommy, How did you come up with those characters? Just
I don't know, man. I never liked when comedians come up with like a character and then they force it into their act. But like I had done a joke about that. I said that if I want to answer a phone call from a creditor, like I want to pick up the phone when American Express calls me, and I want to answer the phone like my imaginary son. So I would do in my act that I pick up the phone and say like, "Hello, Dad. Daddy's not home right now." So I started this voice, and I would say like, he's in the garden. He's burying the guy from American Express. Like I just did stuff like that because it just came out. And then Ant Influenza came from an impression of my grandmother, because my grandmother, God rest her soul, was like the woman in the black dress, who wore black her whole life. And she would give us money out of a dirty sock, and she'd pinch her cheek, and she never spoke English all the years. She barely spoke English all the years she was here. And she would pinch my cheek and be like, "Bella mama, bella mama." She would pinch my. That was the most she said to me. And I did a bit about her finding weed in my drawer, like when I was a kid. So she would be like, "Tommaso," and I told her, you heard this joke. I told her it was oregano, and she went sauce. So I sort of like started doing an impression of my grandmother, and then it sort of, with working with Russell and Vic, it sort of morphed into this Ant Influenza character, which is all over my Facebook and my Instagram, stuff like that.
Now, you just brought up Vic, which is, what a big fan I am of Vic, and I always love working with him.
Sure.
How is I mean, he's been bringing in some huge crowds all over the country, and you worked with him closely. How do you prepare? Because you're both an opener for such as Vic and also headliner.
Right.
Do you prepare differently when you're about to be an headliner versus an opener?
There are some times where when I open for Vic over an extended period of time, that all of a sudden I do 8 or 10 shows with Vic, and then I'm doing 25 minutes to 30 minutes. And there's something very freeing about that, because when you go out on stage, and no offense to what I do, but I'm not like the guy, they're there to see Vic. So when I go out, there's a certain luxury to doing 25 minutes, 30 minutes, because for me at this point, it's a short amount of time. And then it's a little different, because when I do that 10 or 12 times, then all of a sudden I go to a club and then I have to do an hour, or I have to do 50 minutes. Then all of a sudden I'm going, oh shit, I gotta be up there for an extra twice the amount of time. So sometimes that happens, but Basically, no. I mean, it's easier working with Vic
Yeah.
because you have 1,500 people in a theater that are all thrilled and excited to be there,
Yeah.
and they can't wait to see the show. And when you go out on stage, I say this all the time: if a comedian bombs in front of Vic DiBitetto,
Yeah.
which of course you know because you're in the business, bombing means you don't do well, or in case your listeners don't understand
Yeah.
terminology, bombing means you suck pretty
Yeah.
much. Okay, but if you go out and you suck in front of Vic in a theater with 1,500 people, you really have to go and reevaluate what your fucking
Yeah.
because it's hard to do badly because it's just the energy is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, and also, I mean, you have a great manager in Russell Best, a great guy.
Russell's great. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
I enjoy him, and
You
it's
know.
great. Working with Vic too as well, and working with Russ is great because he gets me on these gigs, and he's gotten me a lot of stuff on my own as well. Which
Now, recently, we'll go back to the comedy a little bit after. But recently,
sure.
you actually were part of a movie.
Oh
Nightbird.
yeah, but Nightbird. Yeah,
Right.
Nightbird. I'll tell you one thing. That was so much fun shooting it, but the guy who shot it.
Where was it shot?
It was shot in New York City mostly.
Okay.
New York City, some shot in Jersey, and in L.A. I wasn't in the LA scenes because they managed to do whatever they needed to do in Los Angeles before they
Yeah.
did it here. Before they came to New York and they shot scenes in New York. And it was an incredible experience, and it was so much fun. I mean, I got it was nice to get paid to be an actor, and I had auditioned for it, and they took me. They took me quickly, which was nice. And then, of course, you know how when somebody picks you quickly, you think, "Oh shit, these guys don't care." They just grabbed the first guy that came along. And then they told me that they had auditioned, a couple of hundred people for the role. So it was nice that they believed in what I can do. And it was just bizarre, man. I had to play a bank manager from New Orleans, which I had to work on the accent with a vocal, like an acting coach. And then after I did that in the film, they all of a sudden told me that the last scene, I was a transvestite. So I had to dress as a. Holy shit, dude. I'll tell you one thing. I will never fucking make fun of a woman when I see her walking in the street holding her fucking shoes because her feet are hurting. I will never, ever, ever again make fun of a woman when I see her at 3 a.m. holding her shoes, barefoot, waiting for a cab, because those fucking shoes hurt, man. I mean, it was the craziest thing. Being in pumps for 16 hours was fucking hard, man.
I gotta ask you a question, because who the hell feeds you? Because you look like you're starving.
I know, dude. You all the time. Wait, Tony, I got to tell you, fans, whoever's listening, every time I work with you, man, your focus is more the food than anything else, than the accommodations, the show. You don't even care if 6 people show up, as long as we enjoy the restaurant.
That's right. At least you're fed. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
I was looking at some pictures of you. I don't know why, but you were climbing walls.
Yes.
Is that a hobby of yours?
Yes. I don't do it. I mean, obviously now you can't really, a rock climbing gym is like a freaking petri dish. You can't exactly be in a rock climbing gym right now.
Yeah.
But it was teaching bouldering at a gym and doing classes and teaching it. So bouldering is basically rock climbing. But it's a good hobby. It's a fun hobby, and I was doing that for a long time. I mean, I'm no spring chicken. You know what I mean? I'm 59, so teaching bouldering and climbing at that age.
You look a lot younger than that.
Yeah, that's what everybody says when they do Zoom. It must be the cameraman. I don't think it's real.
Yeah, I remember working with you the first time. We go out to a restaurant, and I'm ordering food, and you're barely eating. I'm like, did I offended this guy? What's going on? Is he sick? Something wrong with him? Does he have diabetes? I started, questioning
Worry.
uh, you
You know
pretty hardly.
the crazy thing
So
is when the craziest thing before you go on, the craziest thing is when you get older, right? The problem is that, when you're in your 30s, right? If you lose weight and you're looking thinner,
yeah,
they see you. When they see you, they always go, "Oh man, you look great. You lost weight." But then if you're over 50 and you lose weight, everybody runs into you and they're like, "Hey man, are you okay?" Like,
yeah,
like everybody should have cancer when you're over 50 and you're not,
yeah.
heavy.
Now, I mean, you're pretty, like I said, pretty available on social media. How's your experience with also XM radio? Because you've been on it quite often.
Yeah, I was on a show called Raw Dog for a while. They had a half hour special, Rascals Comedy Club, which had closed down a few years back, but it was still airing because Sirius had a hold of it. Sirius XM. It was called Rascals Comedy Hour, but it was a half an hour of.
Okay.
Maybe that's why they closed down because they didn't know the difference
Oh,
between a.
that's right. I'm sure you had a big influence in that. So,
But that was fun. That was cool to see yourself out there like that. And then I think Comedy Central was selling it as like a DVD or something or a CD,
yeah.
and for a fucking nickel. So thank you, Comedy Central, if you're listening.
Um, so now we all been off work for a few months now, and you said you were writing. What are you working on now?
Well, I'm working on where a friend of mine and I, which this is obviously a stumbling block with us having the quarantine coming at us. We're writing a movie. It's called Pancakes and Syrup, and it's a film about two guys going cross country. I'm a stand-up comedian who's got a substance addiction problem, and he's a womanizer, and he travels with a recovering alcoholic to go out. They're a little in their they're somewhat middle aged or whatever, and they're going cross country to go out to LA to try to have like a last shot at like making it in the business. And it's a lot of fun, and it took us fucking 9 years to write it. And
Oh no, who did you write it with? I couldn't catch it.
my friend Rob Cividanis.
Okay.
Cividanes. He's gonna hate
I
it.
did not ask you to spell it, but thank you anyways.
Well, in case they want to go on his fucking social media, I don't know. But so we wrote, we did the movie, and then we were just about to go to fundraising. We wrote the pitch for it. We were going to do the pitch, put it on like a Indiegogo, which is much better than Kickstarter. Indiegogo, Kickstarter, in case you people listening, they're two independent websites where you raise money for film projects or just about any kind of project that you're working on. Indiegogo is much better because if you don't reach your goal, you don't have to give money back to people. Kickstarter, if you don't reach the $50,000 or $100,000 goal,
Gotcha.
you have to return money. So we were just about to launch that when the pandemic hit. So this isn't exactly the time to be like, "Hey, I'm sorry,
Right.
your uncle passed away, but you got $50." It just doesn't.
Wow. So it took you 9 years to write it. Was this the first movie you guys wrote or you wrote?
First one we wrote, but with a lot of experience. I mean, I was in acting before comedy. I mean, between the two of us, we probably have.
Did you go to a school for it?
Well, both of us. I studied acting for about 10 years in going from my 20s into my 30s. I was in music from when I was about 17 to 27. So I've always been in business. It was fun times. We did fairly well. And then Rob was also an actor. That's how we met. And then he's a stand-up now. So the writing is pretty good, and we had professionals look at it to do rewrites, and you do rewrite after rewrite after rewrite. It's a lot of work, but it's rewarding. But obviously you can't exactly have a fundraiser now. And then even when everything opens back up, how many people are going to have disposable income that they're going to want to invest in a film?
Gotcha.
So we're gonna see how it goes, you know.
Now, for
So
example, this if you have the chance, if you're blessed to do the movie, where would you go on location?
well, as of now, we are pretty sure that we're going to have to go to LA because it's very difficult to fake LA.
Yeah,
You know, it's easier to you could fake almost anywhere else, like any indoor scene. You
yeah,
could you can fake being in LA because all you have to do when you're indoors, you can't fake the street. But when you're indoors, you could just put a Los Angeles Lakers poster on the wall
yeah,
and put some other stuff, a Hollywood sign,
yeah.
and then you're seen. Nobody knows. They don't know if you're in Queens or you're in LA. So
Right.
we're gonna do some location stuff. We're gonna have to get out to LA to do some of it, and then we're gonna do a lot of it in the car because a lot of it is us driving and on the road. And so we're gonna have to. It's gonna be a hard task, but we're looking forward to working hard and getting it done.
And what do you think a budget for a movie like that is?
Well, we got it budgeted by professionals, and they came back with $260,000 that
Okay,
we would need to shoot it. I mean, it's that of course is a lot of money, but not
but it's
in
not
the
for movies.
no
Right.
naturally not for but in real life, of course, it's a lot of money. Now, our plan is that we're going to shoot it, whether we raise 50,000 or 250,000. We're going to shoot the film anyway. So we're going to
That's
have to.
fantastic.
It'll be harder, of course.
Yeah,
When if
yeah,
sound and I'm also acting in the film,
yeah.
it's difficult. You want to focus on one job and do it right. You know,
Right.
but we'll see. You know,
But I mean, still, even comedy and movies really go hand in hand.
absolutely.
You
Yeah.
look Vic, with Mall Cop 2, a lot of other actors. One thing that I see more often is a lot of actors becoming comedians. I don't know if you saw that. You know,
Yeah, that a bit. I mean, I think it works. It seems to work better the other way around.
yeah,
When a comedian becomes an actor,
yeah,
then it just works better. When an actor becomes a comedian, I don't think actors really get it. I don't think they get how much bullshit and how hard it is to get up in front of 300 strangers that you never met before and
yeah.
just make them laugh. There's no.
Especially when they're not safe rooms.
Oh my God, I know, man. Like, think about the fourth wall. Like, you know what the fourth wall is in acting? What they call that. The fourth wall in acting is considered the audience, like
Yeah,
in front of you. So you don't cross the fourth wall when you're an actor. Like when you're looking into the audience as an actor, you might be looking. This is from stage. You
yeah,
might be looking at trees. You might be looking down a road. You might be looking into a sunset. Those people are kind of not there for you. But then when you're a comedian, the fourth wall is removed. There is no fourth. You have a guy in front of you, yelling at you that your shirt's ugly when you're in the middle of your.
right.
So you got to be able to be on your feet and be able to deal with that. Where
Yeah,
they're behind this veil almost, the fourth wall. They're behind that fourth wall, and they don't have that need to stay focused and to be able to interact with people. They don't have to do that. They're doing a play or they're doing a movie, and they're staring into the lens of a camera. It's very very different. And then when
yeah.
when the,
Also, when you are, I think you're an actor and you become a comedian, you might get a good audience because people know you from the movie and you got the notoriety. But then you got to perform once you're on stage.
Absolutely right. Then you get up and you suck because you got to get the experience. You can't just because you got a funny story about this one time when you were with Mel Gibson and he was yelling, screaming like a racist on a street corner.
Yeah,
It's not enough. You can do a couple of those things, but you need more. You need more than that, and it takes you forever because you think about what we do as comedians. The idea of what we do is we want to make it look like we're just up on stage and we're just talking. You know, like
right.
who's great at that? I mean, Frank Santarelli is great at that because
I,
Frank
I was
acts like.
actually, I was about to bring him up as well because Frank started out as a comedian, turned into an actor, going back to
Sure.
But I mean, he's done a lot of I mean, obviously The Sopranos, but he
Sure.
was in some other big movies as well.
Oh
He
yeah.
was the courier. What was a FedEx guy at uh, what's the movie? Robert De Niro and
Is that Goodfellas or was it?
no. What the hell? Uh, oh my God! He had part one and two. With Ben. Which one?
Oh no, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the one, the psychiatry one.
Exactly.
Analyze this.
No. I will get back to it. I can't believe it. It's skipping off my head right now.
Yeah, that's
But it was a big movie with Ben Stiller.
That's Meet the Parents.
Meet the Parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in that.
But so when you he's got a very natural way of talking on stage, and when you develop that, the idea is that you want everybody in the audience to believe that you're just up there talking. Right. You're not really doing an act. You're just kind of going, "Hey, everybody, what's going on?" I was walking down the street. Friend came over to me. So the easier you make it seem, the more people in the audience, they believe that they can do what you do. You know what I'm saying? Like most times, if there's two fat guys on a couch, right, watching the Olympics, they don't think that they could be on a balancing beam like the 17-year-old girl that's doing backflips.
Correct.
Like, they're not on the couch going like, "Hey, yeah, Tony, I could fucking balance the beam. If I had a balancing beam, I could fucking do backflips like that little brat." They know they can't do it. We know. We see our limitations when we watch other things, other art forms. You're not going to sit there and think you can hit a baseball like Derek Jeter. You're not going to think that. Yeah. But the thing about stand-up comedy is that everyone, at one time or another in their life, they made somebody laugh. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You and I hang out. We joke around all the time together. Yeah. We break each other's balls. We laugh a lot. You make me laugh. I make you laugh. So that doesn't mean that the guy who makes people laugh at a barbecue
doesn't necessarily translate to be a comedian on a stage.
Right. You can't then just go up in front of 300 people at a comedy club the next night and make everybody laugh, because your friends, they know your sensibility. They know who you are. They know exactly who you're talking about, because you're making fun of Karen in the office, and everybody knows Karen's a bitch, and she never changes the water in the water cooler. So everybody gets, everybody ha 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 about Karen, but it doesn't translate well. So sometimes these actors that are going on stage, they think that they're going to just tell stories about acting, and they're going to crush.
But that's why I think that open mics are very important when you start up.
Ooh, they're so important. I mean, I did open mics. I was barking most of the time. And barking is when, it's an old vaudeville term. Barking is when you go in the street and you hand out flyers. So I would go in the street. I did it 5-6 times a week when I first started.
Yeah.
You go in the street, you hand out flyers from 9 to 11. And then the show starts at 10. You know what I mean? And then at 11, you go into the club, you wait around until most of the people leave, and then you get to go up and do a few minutes, toward the end of the show.
Yeah.
And that's barking. And that's what a lot of people did coming up, and open mics. And then you can produce your own shows. I did shows at a laundromat, a Krispy Kreme shop, a supermarket. There was another coffee shop that sold, Greek pastries and shit. We did.
Well, the shows you did with me were not much better.
Well, you had more seats. Nobody was in them. But
yeah, right.
No, there was some stuff.
But you said that you started as an actor and you were in music. What was the turning point that made you realize you wanted to be a comedian? And growing up, who were some of the people that influenced you that maybe pushed you to that decision?
It was Carlin. It was Eddie Murphy. It was guys like Carlin, Eddie Murphy. Guys
Carlin definitely is one of my top 3 ever.
Fantastic, right? And years ago, I actually listened to the old school because my brother and sister are much older than I am. I'm like an accident. I'm the one who my sister just turned 70, so she's 11 years older than I am. My
Wow.
brother's like 10 I am. So when I was a kid, they exposed me to a lot of the older Comedy Central, like they're not Comedy
Yeah.
Central. I don't know if Comedy Central at the time, but
Yeah.
the old with Dean Martin and Foster Brooks and Buddy Hackett and all those older comedians that have since passed away for the most part now. But that was a lot of my influence, and a lot of that was were people that I watched growing up. And I mean, I was always a class clown, when I was a kid. I mean, I had a tough childhood growing up with an Italian American father that was he wasn't exactly the nicest guy you'll ever meet.
He
You know what I
wasn't
mean?
Father of the Year.
No.
No.
No. Probably wouldn't even be in the running. But so what I did was to protect myself when I went out in the street and when I was out in school. It was being a clown. Being a clown was the way I protected myself.
Yeah.
Like the old thing, like laugh, clown, laugh, and that old saying about that if you don't laugh, people say it all the time. If I don't laugh, I'll cry. So
Yeah.
instead of maybe turning to a little bit of a darker side, I tended to be a little bit more with joking. Joking was my way of defending those kind of feelings that I had. And I mean, I did also stupid shit. I got into drugs in my early 20s and stuff like that. I mean, which a lot of people do, regardless of their family, their upbringing or whatever it is. But
Yeah.
I had a problem. I mean, I didn't have a problem with cocaine when I had it. There wasn't a problem. It was when I
Of
didn't
course.
have it. Yeah, when I had it, there was no problem. When I didn't have it, there was a problem. And like, I always joke around, like, I don't know if you remember. You remember in the street, like when the price went down, like when cocaine was expensive, and then all of a
I
sudden
gotta
the
be
price
honest
dropped.
with you. If I tell you, I'm like Clinton. I tried once and did not inhale.
Really? Okay, man. All
That's
right.
that's a God honest truth, and I never been exposed to that world personally.
God bless you, man. Because I always joke around that I'm the reason that the price went down. Because when I quit, they were like, holy shit, what are we gonna do with all this coke?
Yeah.
And they, but so that was part of the reason why I actually became a comedian was because I was that type. I mean, a lot of comedians, they have problems. They're all fucking crazy. I mean, there's very few comedians that are well-adjusted, normal people that grew up in a normal home. I mean, you're producing shows
Yeah.
and you're involved in show business. I mean, you're probably fucked up too. There's got to be a couple of dogs that are
Oh,
barking.
for sure, I got a bunch of screws loose. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, man, you got to be fucking crazy to even want to be around comedians. Like the work that you do.
But I think that a lot of great comedians have a really deep, dark side to them.
I think you're right about that. I mean, I've
But I think that in some level, that the dark side makes them great comedians. I don't think they would be achieved the greatness without that pain.
No, you're right about that. And the unfortunate thing about some of them is the darkness wins, and the darkness takes over either the drive or the desire to become a comedian. And
Yeah.
then you have, guys like Mitch Hedberg that, or Richard Jenny that, shot himself when he was 41 years old. A brilliant
I
comic.
can't come up with a name. There was the comedian, the director from Taxi.
Oh, an actor. Oh, yeah. No, but he died of cancer. That was
Right, but he had a big, I was watching not too long ago a documentary about him and everything that he was going through throughout his life,
Even the show, even the movie with they did a movie about him.
Yeah,
that was
they did.
Yeah, I forget who was in that one, but that was I mean, he was troubled for sure, but unfortunately with him it was cancer that killed him. There was it was say holy shit. Look, see what I'm doing? Look at this.
Oh, there it is.
It's a cat.
Thank you for showing that. to our viewers.
Fans got to see it. If I got to deal with this shit, you fucking fans are going to see my cat peeing. I'm sorry.
Of course. So let me ask you a question. If you could bring one dead comedian back to life to watch him live one time, who would it be?
Wow, man. Holy shit. That is such a good question. You know, I'm not sure if it would be Bill Hicks or it would be Carlin, because Bill Hicks was very raw, and Bill Hicks spoke his mind about. I mean, I don't talk about politics. I don't give a shit. But
yeah, I don't either, because you just. Joe Bruno just said that was Andy Kaufman.
Oh, Andy Kaufman, nice. Yeah, thank him.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. He's got to help us, because we're.
That's right.
Yeah, because now when I talk about a movie now, because I'm like over 50 now, I go, you know, it was the movie with that guy and the kid. They go to that place with the people, and there's the thing. There was a fire, and then like I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. But yeah, it's I mean it's interesting that you have that way of looking at things, where if we hear what Carlin would have to say about, because Carlin has been gone before we had Facebook and texting and Twitter and Instagram and all these things, that it would be wonderful to see what his perspective would be on all of these things. That he obviously, you know, he was brilliant, but he couldn't talk about Twitter exactly, you know, 5 years ago. No.
A lot of people are shouting out who they would love to see. George Carlin, we got Robin Williams is another one.
Right. Robin Williams would be great. Yeah. He hasn't been gone long. How long's Robin been gone? About 3 years now, maybe?
You know, but you're right about politics, and you should not talk about it. It seems like no matter what you say, you're going to offend that for the country.
Of course, man. I mean, listen, I got to tell you this story. It's crazy. One time when, like I said, I don't give a shit. Obama was president, right? And he opened relations with Cuba, right? Yeah. Now, I'm a cigar smoker. So I just did a joke. It was just a joke. Yeah. I said, Obama opened relations with Cuba. I said, I don't really give a shit. I just want to know, where's the fence that I have to go to get my box of cigars?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the joke is just that I don't know shit about geography, right? That I'm saying the fucking fence, right? Now, obviously, I'm just an idiot. I swear I had to take it down, because within 10 minutes, people were screaming at each other about Obama. And it didn't matter if it was Obama or Jesus or Reagan, or it was just about the fact that I'm a fucking idiot, and I think there's a fence, and on the other side of the fence, there's Cuba. That's the whole joke.
I respect everybody's opinion. I don't care who you vote for. I don't care your sexual. I don't care about anything you want to do. I respect it. You know.
I agree.
You want to go screw a pig in the middle of the road? Enjoy yourself. I don't care. As long as it doesn't, you know.
Right.
What I don't like is the hypocrisy of politics.
As long as the pig it's consensual.
True. Correct.
Pig has to agree.
Correct. That's very important.
Yes.
But I was saying, I just don't like the hypocrisy. Meaning, if you ever stand into something and you believe in it, you should believe it, whether it's your candidate or another candidate, if he's approaching that. So, meaning, if I'm just going to give a quick example.
Sure.
A lot of people were offended with when during the Obama administration, Obama wanted to open up talks with the North Korean leader.
Yes.
All of a sudden, you hear, no, we do not negotiate with dictators.
Right.
No, that's not being patriotic and all that. Okay.
Of course.
And I'm not making the point either way. Whatever you.
Sure.
But the same people, then when Trump, for example, was talking about it to the leader of North Korea, oh, what a great move! It's fantastic. you know.
And you know what's amusing?
So I don't care which way you feel about it, okay?
And I think,
but you have to be, you have to, be consistent. That's
be
all.
consistent. Exactly. And you know what I find interesting? Both sides today, we're so polarized that
Yeah.
I think that all the way on the right, I think they're crazy, and I think all the way on the left, they're crazy. Like when it comes to like any kind of environmental thing, like I love the environment, I love the country, I love the planet. I think we should always take care of our planet. I think we should, plastic in the ocean sucks, all that stuff, and I'm sure anybody that's sensible would agree. Whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, it doesn't mean that Republicans want the ocean full of plastic. I mean, it's crazy to think that someone would. But if there was like a frog, right, that could go extinct because they're doing something where that frog lives, and the frog could die. But if I could, like, you're my friend, if I could save your life, right, I'll fucking kill every single one of those fucking frogs.
Gotcha.
If I could save your life, I'll fucking kill every single fucking frog that's in that little spot over there, because that's what's more important to me. So when it comes to things like doing research with genetics, you know how like what is it they do when they're able to like make a liver in a tray with
cloning?
Cloning, right? Now, if a lot of people, the religious wackos, right, they go, oh, we can't do cloning. We can't do cloning because you're going against God, right? You do cloning. If I make a liver so Tony Napoli can live another 20 years and feed me fucking calamari in Buffalo, right?
Yeah, of course.
What I want to do, I want you to live because I want you to feed me. If I could get you, if we can make a liver in a dish so you can live 20 years, the religious crazies will be going, no, it's not God's will. Okay, but if, like you were saying about being a hypocrite, if you want to say that that's not God's will, then why is open heart surgery God's will? And why is a pill that you take for your diabetes, why is that God's will?
Yeah.
So if it's not God's will to be able to make a liver in a dish and have you live 20 more years, then why is it God's will that we have stitches that we invented to close a cut, or vaccines that we have to make you live? So you just, like you were saying, you can't be a hypocrite. Just stay in your lane, and they should have things like that. Let people survive if they can, because assuming there's a God gave us the knowledge and the power and the ability to be able to clone and to learn and to grow.
I 100% agree with you. And that's unfortunately we live. I never in my life seen this country so divided. I'll be honest with you.
I know.
And there's so much hate. Between. I see it between people that were friends for a lifetime, breaking breaking friendships over politics, which should never happen.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Crazy. It's crazy, and it's very polarized. And listen, and then also this is this thing that we're in now with this being locked up at home. And then when did we know that you and I would not be able to do a show together? So crazy. Like a year ago when I heard about this virus in China, I just thought it was like many of the other things you hear about that go on around the world.
Right.
You never be right in front of your fucking house. You just see it as this distant thing that's going to stay in a country, that's however far China is.
It's always somebody else's problem until it hits you home.
Exactly, man. Until you're wearing a mask when you go into a local deli, that it hits you, that it's your thing. It's just so weird. And now it's so weird. Like we've changed so much too, the way we act. Like, like I used to throw shit away, like in my refrigerator. And now I go in my refrigerator and I go, oh, I better eat this. It's going to go bad, because now the pandemic is here. So now you go, oh, wait, my grapes are going bad. I better eat, so I eat a pound of fucking grapes in one day because they're going bad. Or the doorbell rings and you get in the package and you're like, maybe that's my wife's, you get fucking everything.
I want to ask a question that I ask everybody that comes onto the show.
Oh, cool.
Because we all know the negative connotations of COVID. Something positive that COVID impact you positively in your, in the last few months?
Well, I got to hang out with a girl that I'm with now, and I got to be with her and her family. And
By the way, I don't know who she is, but can you ask her a question?
I could ask her a question, but I'd
Yeah,
have to
for me.
text her.
Just why? Why Tom?
I asked
I love that I love that I can joke around with you.
that. You better be able to. Yeah, I ask myself that question every fucking day, Tony.
So go
Every
ahead.
time,
Sorry for interrupting you. Go ahead.
and every time I look at her, I ask myself the same question. I'm like,
Yeah.
fucking why? Now there's just one other person asking the same question. Now I'm like, you got to answer that question for me and
Yeah.
Tony Napoli.
That's right.
But if you're asking me about the positive, that's one of the things is that I get to see her and her family, and I'm getting to hang out with them, and honestly, it's like I feel guilty about this because I know a lot of people are suffering, but it's almost like I'm okay. I'm okay. I have enough money. I'm eating food. I have
Yeah.
a roof over my head. I'm safe, and it's almost like I said, my life before this was pandemonium, and I know yours was as well.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy between, you know, comedy and movies and writing and this and a podcast and blah blah. Every minute of every day, you're kind of going 90 miles an hour, trying to book this and do that and do this, and then all of a sudden it came to a screeching halt. And now I appreciate the time off.
Yeah.
I almost appreciate it like it's a vacation. And like I said, I feel a little guilty about that because there are people suffering, and I know there are. So when you feel like I like this, at the same time, you have a sense of guilt because people are not enjoying this.
Right.
I feel
It's true. There's a lot of hardship out there.
Of course there is. And one of the things about it that I feel is a positive is that you really now are appreciating the people that you care about. I appreciate being able to give you a hug. If one day we'll be able to hug again without worrying about it. I think you appreciate the people in your life more now that you have, because you realize that life can be somewhat fragile. Not that I didn't realize that before, but especially with something like this. So I have to say that Annie's been a big influence on me, and hanging out with her, and that's been. I mean,
do you think these times that we're living is going to impact some of the writing you're doing now for possibly new comedy shows?
Oh, of course. If I go back on stage right now, I'd probably do 30 minutes on this pandemic.
Just wanted to shout out to Angelo Delazio from Steubenville, Ohio.
Steubenville,
Hello,
nice.
Elizabeth, and some other ones are joining in to the show. By the way, you said that the movie that you're working on, there's going to be scenes in New York. We're going to film some of it.
Called, like I was said before, if you let me plug it.
Can I volunteer for at least like a side, like a small cameo, something? I could be the guy scrubbing the toilet. I was telling, just so I can, it's on my bucket list.
Dude, hopefully if you make a little money, you can invest a little money. And the more you invest, the bigger a role you get. That's how we do things.
At this moment, with everything that's going on, I can invest coupons.
Well, at this moment, we're taking coupons. All right? I just want you to know that.
Yeah.
Look, it's called Pancakes and Syrup, the movie. If you want to go on, it's PAS, the movie on Twitter. And if you want to look it up online.
I'll definitely check it out. So you are on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and your website is TommyComic.com.
And then also Tom Daddario Live is my YouTube channel.
Yeah. People are saying they can't wait to see you your comedy show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we got people from Idaho, Caldwell, wow. Idaho.
No, Idaho. They probably heard that before. I'm sorry.
And Joe Bruno says, I'm in for a cameo as well, and investment as well.
Oh, cool, man. I hope so. Joe Bruno. I like that. You know what I mean?
I don't know about Joe. I don't know. I had him yesterday. He's kind of strange guy.
Joe,
I don't know. I mean, if you have to pick between me and Joe, obviously, I'm the one that books you. So just keep that in mind.
of course, Joe doesn't do shit for me. A lot of
Yeah, Joe. No, kidding. Joe. Love Joe, funny guy. And actually, he worked with another friend of ours. Actually, I brought you there too. We went to Batavia Downs before this all happened. And Joe worked with Eric Tartaglione.
Right, Erica told me he did it too. I would love to do that.
Yeah, Eric was very funny. I had him on Tuesday. He's another great guy. I mean, you get to work with a lot of good people.
Yeah, man, I like Eric a lot. Eric's a good guy.
Yeah, Joe Bruno just called me fucker. That's not good.
Well, tell Joe Bruno that he might not get booked again now by you.
That's right, Joe. I'm gonna book him in my barn.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
book
right.
In fact, Tony, book him tonight.
That's right. So, no, but like I said, I hope we can get back into some kind of normalcy again, because staying home and the worst I think is having no real prospect. You don't know when to book shows, how, and even if they're going to happen, how they're going to happen.
Yep. My friend tonight is doing a Zoom thing. My friend John LaRocchia, he works with Laughter Saves Lives. It was after 9/11. He started doing stuff with firemen in New York, and he does comedy shows. And he's doing a Zoom meeting tonight that I'm on with a bunch of a bunch of bookers and comedians, and they're trying to talk about what's going to be the opening stages of doing a show. Like, what are we going to do? Are they going to put plexiglass in front of the comic? Are they going to have people have to wear masks? Are they going to have separated seating? Are they going to have like tables where if you know everyone, you can be at a table with them,
right?
And then have that table and the next table. Like, he's looking to get online and start talking about what we would have to do moving forward to make this work.
Actually, I got news last week, which one of my favorite places to go. And as a matter of fact, I was there with Victor Bitero, which is the Hannah Theater in Cleveland.
Okay.
600 seater, almost 600 seats. And I got a call and they said, I'm sorry, but we have to reschedule. I was going there in November with the Uncle Louis Variety Show. And I got a call and they said, I'm sorry, but we need to reschedule your show for 2021. I said, why? I said, can we use social distancing? He goes, I'm sorry, but we're closing 3 or 4 because it's a complex. They have 4 or 5 theaters. I said, we're only going to keep our main theater on, but all the smaller shows, we have to close the theater because they can't make money.
Right.
With 125 to 200 seats.
The cat's. Dude, I got another.
You and your freaking cat. So, but listen, Tom. I just want to tell you, it was a pleasure having you on. The hour flew by.
Thank you, Tony. I know, man. I only looked at my clock 42 times. No, I'm kidding. Right? It's crazy.
No. So everybody, I hope you can follow Tom on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Check out TommyComic.com, and if you haven't done it yet, go to my YouTube channel, Tony Napoli channel on YouTube. You better subscribe right after this, just so you know.
Oh, I'm going to subscribe. Yeah, send me a link.
I will send a link.
Text me a link.
Bruno didn't. I know he didn't. Damn it.
I'll send you my link as well, so we'll subscribe to each other.
No, I'm already subscribed to yours.
Ah, shit. All right, I'll do yours.
That's how I roll.
That's fucking. I'll do yours now.
So thank you everybody for following, and I'm sure we'll have you on again. Thank you. It was a pleasure having you, and can't work. I can't wait to work with you again. It's nice when you work with somebody who's funny as yourselves and a nice guy to work with too.
Thanks, my friend. Same to you, man. Same to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, and hopefully I'll see you next Monday. with another comedian, but we might have a surprise show with some musicians tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful, safe evening. Bye bye.
You will.